now that we have looked at some examples of artworks that show composition and balance in really interesting ways, it's time for us to create our own compositions in our books. So I have my book open. We're going to be using the side that has the 6 pages. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm using the right side. You shouldn't see your front and back cover. And I have my shapes. I have my 3 shapes that are the same in a color that contrasts really nicely with the page of my paper. And then I have 10 or more other shapes that vary in color, size, and proportion. So I'm going to work on creating a composition that has rhythm, movement, and balance on my pages. What that means is that I'm gonna need to try out a couple different things before I settle on one. You don't want it to look like your composition is really still, really flat. So if I just line them up like this, there's not a lot of interesting things happening. This, I would say, is not a very good composition. It's not very strong. It's just through the middle. It just goes straight across. We want to add some more interesting things going on. Remember, we want to lead our eye through the whole book and keep the people who are going to look at our book interested in continuing to look at it. So I would suggest kind of moving the pieces around, seeing what sort of interesting things you can do with your shapes. You can layer them on top of each other. So I have the purple and the green, and that really pops out from my page. I have some bigger ones and smaller ones. So maybe what I'm gonna do is I'll try to create a composition that kind of moves in a wave over throughout the whole book. So that your pieces can even come off of your page. You want to try to have a nice balance so there's not too many things on one side and not enough things on the other. You are trying to kind of stress different things in your composition, so in the way that we're laying it out. So maybe I'm a little bit happier with this, but I still have all those pages, so I can cut this one after I've glued it down. It's okay if the pieces come out. But right now, if I were to look at this, I would say it's kind of empty over here. I have a lot of room still throughout here. So maybe I also have a lot of green, not enough purple. So maybe I'm gonna throw in some purple pieces over here to just kind of bring our eye back up. Down here too. If it turns out that you cut more pieces than you want to use, that is okay. That's too much green going on over there, so it's not very balanced. This is more balanced over here. So maybe I'll swap this one out for a purple one, and that kind of makes the composition a little bit more balanced. So there's more going on over here, and then it kind of becomes more sparse. So the shapes over here are not as close. But maybe that's actually what I want. Maybe I want it to look really dense and then kind of loosen up as it goes this way. So what I could do for that is I could even overlap some more of these shapes. And you're just kind of playing around, try out different things. Once you think that you have something that you're happy with, you need to talk to another person at your table and have them approve of your final composition. So they need to say, yeah, I think that looks good. So this is, I'm liking what I'm doing now. And as I'm moving over here, the shapes are getting a little bit farther apart. They're not as close together, so there's more room. But I think that it makes sense. So there's a lot more heavy on this side, and then it loosens up kind of like a wave. So your partner needs to say, yes, I think that looks good. If they're like, well, I think it needs a little bit more over here, then you need to go back in, rearrange your shapes. And once they approve your composition, you can start gluing it down. That's it.